after we have done the benefits and how fasting can change our life, then what I pointed out very importantly then is that what you eat after fasting is as important as the fasting itself. The effect, if after 18 hours, 13 hours, 20 hours, or 48 days, you then eat something that is very bad for your body, you automatically destroy whatever you have, all that you have achieved. To this effect, there are certain number of things that you can use to do an assessment. It does not require you going to the lab, but you can use common sense to address it. First, whether what you eat will increase the level of insulin in your body, whether it can lead to insulin resistance, whether it can cause inflammation, whether it can increase the sugar blood level. I can itemize and go down, but just for you to have an idea that every single thing you put in your mouth will create dynamics that can generate or trigger release of hormones, release of chemicals that will affect your gut processes, digestion, blood pressure, movement of nutrients in your system. So, to break it down, there are certain foods that have zero effect in terms of sugar blood level, or in terms of glucose, or in terms of insulin. And these are common things that you can start with. You can find them in green tea, you can find them in water, you can find them in spices. Spices are very powerful, like I pointed out earlier. Turmeric, ginger, black pepper, cayenne pepper, and cinnamon. They are very powerful. They are things you can bring into your food virtually every time, and they have effects. And turmeric in particular has more than 60-70 benefits that we may not enumerate now. Start with tea. And then, of course, you enter into hard food. Fruits. Fruits are very good, but just know that there are some fruits that have very high sugar. So depending on how high glucose you can create in your body. So you have to know first the level you are at that particular time in terms of your sugar blood level, or in terms of accumulation of fat in your body. If it is very high, be very careful the type of fruits you take. Of course, you have fruits that are very powerful and at the same time do not have such things. One of them is avocado, and avocado has it's a monounsaturated fat, very high fat, but very benefiting to the body. And then you have, apart from avocado, extra virgin oil. In fact, we'll do a particular section dealing with oil, because what you are having now is that only extra virgin oil had been shown in controlled trials that to have the kind of effect that will benefit human body. Apart from that, coconut oil had been tested, and what they found out is that even though coconut oil could be beneficial, but you always remember that it has very high palmitic acid, and so that palmitic acid is found in palm oil. In other words, if you are using them, please use them very lightly until we come to such a stage where it has now been established that the negative effect will not impact on you. And in terms of food, you have about 4 major things that can reduce your level of insulin and will not cause you insulin resistance. These are not extra virgin, yes, extra virgin oil can do that, but generally fiber, foods that contain fiber will not cause you insulin. And these foods that contain high fiber, for example, you have beans as one of them. You have coconut, but coconut as coconut, not coconut as the oil. We will deal with oil later. Then you have apple cider vinegar that will not cause you increase in your blood sugar level or insulin resistance. Then you have fasting, which we have already done. So you have virtually only 4 things that you can eat without causing you in any of this. So you concentrate on those things. So by concentrating on those things, you touch on fish as one of the best foods that you can have. But the only issue with all these foods is that even fish that are very good, it depends how it's produced. If you get foods that are fish that is harvested or that is produced with grains, in other words farmed, then you have a very terrible food to eat. Because every food you eat or you don't eat because it can cause problems for you, you eat it from animals or from fish that have been farmed or that have been generated by it creates the same problem because the food will simply come into you. Something like meat, if you can get white meat or meat that had been naturally breeded or naturally grown, then they're quite positive. But when they have been injected antibiotics, no, they will not be good for your body, because for antibiotics 24 hours is enough to change the entire bacteria in your gut system. So you'll be very careful about how you use them. But in the fish situation, you can also go for very deep fish like mackerel, like sardine, and quite a good number. There are quite a good number of them, but knowing how to get them, it is very important more than any other thing else. So when you put down all these foods together, then it will now reinforce the fasting you have done. But if you do not do that, then it becomes a problem, because it's not just to eat food, but the effect of that food in your body. I will deal with oil separately because it has impact in a lot of things we do. When you eat foods, you must balance between the omega-6 in that food and omega-3 in the food. For omega-3 particularly, it is helpful for us. It will help to reduce your inflammation. It will help to reduce your blood pressure. It will help in fact, it's a very powerful food for your brain. At the same time, it is understood that previously in ancient time, it is really important to balance between your omega-3 and omega-6. It used to be 1-to-1, but now, because of the kind of food we have or products we have, it is now 1-to-400. And omega-6 is highly inflammatory to the body, so it can destroy your entire immune system within just few days. So in effect, you must make sure that some of the omega-6 foods you reduce, not to even reduce, remove. You have grains as one of the omega-6 foods. You have wheat, which so many people believe that it is helpful to the body. Yes, the wheat of today is not the same wheat of yesterday. It has been kind of manufactured in the factory, so it is no more the same thing. It has a lot of food that have been added products, and these added products you get are all toxic, are all chemicals. In fact, it has been established that more than 80% of the food you get in supermarkets right now, everywhere in the world, are more concentrated with added products, and that they're not good for human beings. But because they are cheaper, They taste better. In fact, they taste very, very good or very fantastic. It makes people go for them. And then by going for them, it also causes addiction because of the chemical components of those foods. And by the way, please make sure that you hit the bell or subscribe or share this what we are doing. By doing so, you get into greater details of what we are doing with all our social networks. And also, whenever we have new ideas, new products, or new scientific discoveries, we can send you notification for that. I will try to give you a quick summary of all that we have discussed. Number one, just make sure that after fasting, you eat the type of things that will help your body. And first of all, look for zero carbs. In those zero carbs, you have water, you have spices, you have fish, you have meat, you have nuts. All of them are foods that you can eat without having an effect on your blood glucose, on your insulin levels, on your insulin resistance. Because all these ones leads you to one thing, metabolic syndrome or metabolic diseases. These metabolic diseases are a group of diseases that come together because of one major illness, and they run along the line of cardiovascular diseases, obesity, diabetes. All together, there are quite a good number of them that if you do not eat correctly or do well, it will then create so many things, including cancers. And already now they are connecting and linking cancers to more than 32 cancers they have discovered, all linked to obesity, all linked to diabetes. So if you are treating diabetes or treating sugar as the key to diabetes, when diabetes has already turned into insulin resistance, it creates another problem, which is something we will do next time. But to deal with them, deal with the thing that will help you deal with insulin resistance. So eat this type of food anytime you are eating. Then make sure that the kind of carbs you are eating are complex, that they contain fiber. Fiber is most important food you can eat in terms of helping your body to generate the fuel of your body that comes through butyrate and acetate, and these are the breakdown you get from fiber. They are fuels that power the cells of the body. So make sure that fiber foods are always contained. I'm glad you have a lot of fibers too. Vegetables. Eat a lot of vegetables. And I had pointed out earlier before that in eating, make sure that always about 40% of your food should be in raw form, because being in the raw form, the nutrients will simply go into your system and flow into your system immediately. A lot of things that you have cooked do not actually help you because most of those nutrients will be there. So in telling you what to eat and not what to eat a lot of fish where possible, eat avocado and so forth. But remember, in what you are going to eat entails what you are not going to eat at all. Things like bread, they are not good for your system. Things like wheat, not good for your system. Grains, products, any product made of flour, they are not good to your system. Any product that has been produced and manufactured with chemicals, they are not good for your system. Even meat, most meat we are eating now are not wild meat, therefore they are not good. In order to protect a lot of cows all over the world, they have to inject them antibiotics. So therefore, there is no more a very good meat to eat. The same thing fish. If you are harvesting fish in water where you have a lot of chemicals, they are not good fish anymore. Any good fish must be deep water fish that you can eat to serve your body very well. So there are so many things that you will not eat. There are so many things that you can eat, because people think that by not eating certain food, you will not have enough. No, They are enough to eat. But also know that all plant foods that have been touted to be incredibly well for the body, which is very good. But at the same time, every plant food has anti-nutrient. You must know how to remove that anti-nutrient. Just put it in water over 13, 14, 20 hours. And if you have pressure cooker, eat it with pressure cooker for 15 minutes. The anti-nutrients will be wiped out. The lectins will be wiped out. If you don't do it, it will destroy the wall of your intestine, and then you have leaky gut. Leaky gut has incredible array of diseases associated and linked with it. So to be healthy is very simple. It's simply to understand the knowledge. And that knowledge we're here to give you. We'll go then from here and down on also as we do certain exercises, as we do certain fasting systems. We'll also introduce the type of, which is what so many people have been asking me. Give us example of exactly what you think that we can eat, the food that we can eat. We'll go into it and break them down. Thank you very much.